The ocean did not roar. It did not shake. It did not attack. That was what frightened the humans most. The carrier, HMV Atlas, descended through the thick cloud cover of the water world slowly, like a blade cutting into skin. Heat burned across its armored hull as plasma streamed backward in long glowing ribbons. Lightning crawled across its shields, white and violent. Yet the ship remained steady. From the forward observation deck, Captain Mara Vance watched the planet grow larger beneath. Endless water. No continents. No islands. Just an ocean so deep that even the most advanced alien scans had failed to map its floor. This world has no threat markers, an alien advisor said calmly behind her. No hostile life detected above. Abyssal level. Mara did not turn around. Humans had learned long ago that nothing detected did not mean nothing there. As the ship broke through the last cloud layer, the storm vanished. Below them lay a dark, endless sea, smooth in some places and violently broken in others. Waves rose like mountains, then collapsed again into grey infinity. "Prepare for water impact," Mara said. Her voice was calm, but her hands clenched behind her back. The dive alarm echoed through the ship. The Atlas struck the ocean. The impact was controlled. Shock dampeners absorbed the force, and the carrier slid beneath the surface with practiced graze. The sky disappeared, replaced by blue-green darkness filled with drifting debris and fleeing lifeforms. "Pressure hull stable," the bridge reported. "All systems nominal. Beginning descent." The aliens relaxed. The humans did not. Minutes passed as the ship sank deeper. Light faded. Colors vanished. The ocean turned black dot, and then it happened. Not on sensors, not on scanners. Inside. Minds. A human engineer paused mid-step in the corridor, frowning for no clear reason. A navigator blinked hard, suddenly uneasy. A medic felt a strange pressure behind her eyes, like someone standing too close. No alarm sounded, but every human on board felt the same thing. A presence. Captain Vance felt it too, a subtle shift. Like the moment before a thunderstorm breaks. Like standing at the edge of something very old. "Sonar?" she said quietly. "Anything unusual?" The officer hesitated. "Negative, Captain. Just background noise. Ocean movement." Mara nodded, but her eyes stayed on the dark viewport. Background noise was random. This felt patient 3 decks below, Ensign Leo. Carter sat alone at the deep sonar station, headphones pressed tightly against his ears. He frowned as he adjusted the filters again and again. "There it is," he whispered. The sound was faint. So faint that automated systems ignored it. A slow rhythm dot, not mechanical, not geological. Steady, repeating dot like breathing. Leo's fingers hovered over the console. Protocol said not to escalate without confirmation. But something in his gut screamed that waiting was a mistake. The rhythm changed. It did not grow louder. It grew closer. Across the ship, crew members began to dream while still awake. Not visions. Not images. Just feelings. Pressure. Depth. Awareness. In the crew quarters, a petty officer woke suddenly, heart racing. Convinced something enormous had turned its attention toward her. She sat upright, gasping, the sense of being watched, refusing to fade. In the medical bay, the first report came in. "Captain," the medic said overcomes, confused. "We have multiple crew reporting anxiety spikes. No physical cause?" Mara closed her eyes briefly. "How many?" "All humans." That was when the Atlas's lights flickered. Just once. Long enough to be noticed. Every screen recovered instantly. Every system returned to green dot, but silence followed. Not normal silence. Listening silence. Captain. Leo's voice finally broke protocol. It came through the bridge channel, thin but urgent. I'm registering a coherent low-frequency signal. From below us. How far below? Mara asked. There was a pause. Hard to say. It's not reflecting like a solid object. It's more like the water itself is moving around something. Alien officers exchanged glances. That is impossible, one said. No organism of that scale. The signal pulsed again, stronger. The pressure returned, heavier this time. Several crew members grabbed consoles to steady themselves. A quiet gasp escaped someone on the bridge. Mara stepped forward. Put it on speakers. The sound filled the bridge. It was not loud. It was not violent. It was aware, a deep, slow rhythm that pressed against thought rather than ears. Something ancient. Something vast. Something that had noticed a small, noisy intrusion in its world. Leo. Swallow Captain. It's matching our descent speed. The Atlas continued sinking, and whatever waited below was rising to meet it. The pressure increased without warning. Not the kind that showed on hull gauges. Not the kind engineers could compensate for. This pressure came from inside. Captain Mara Vance felt it first behind her eyes. A slow tightening, like the ocean itself. Pangaea wrapped invisible fingers around her skull and was gently testing how much force it would take to break her. Report, she said. Her voice sounded steady. She was proud of that. Depth, 5,000 meters, and descending, the helm replied. Structural limits well within tolerance. The alien observers nodded in satisfaction. Then one of them staggered, the Salathi. Science Attache grabbed the edge of a console, his smooth armored plating rippling in sharp, irregular patterns. That was not expected, he said through a strained translator. My equilibrium systems are disrupted. Before Mara could respond, 2 human crew members cried out. One dropped to her knees, clutching her head. Another pressed his palms against his ears as if trying to block a sound only he could hear. Medical to bridge? Someone called out. Urgently. The sound returned. Not louder, clearer. It no longer felt like background noise. It felt intentional. Leo Carter's hands shook at his station. He adjusted filters again, stripping away ocean interference, removing thermal layers. Compensating for pressure distortion, the signal sharpened. It wasn't just rhythm anymore, it had structure. Pattern double quotes, Captain. He said, swallowing hard. It's adapting to our noise, our engines, our systems. It's sinking. That word sent a chill through the bridge. Define sinking, Mara said. It's matching our frequencies. Hull vibration. Power output. Life support cycles. It's learning us. The alien officers began speaking rapidly among themselves, voices sharp with rising concern. One turned to Mara. This is not consistent with known marine intelligence, the Salathi admiral said. Such rapid adaptation suggests a predator. Mara finished, silence. The ocean around the Atlas darkened further as they passed below 6,000 meters. Even bioluminescent life vanished, retreating into deeper trenches, like prey fleeing a larger hunter. That alone was a warning. Then the dreams began. Not sleep dreams. Waking ones? A helmsman suddenly screamed and tore off his headset, eyes wild. The walls are bending, he gasped. The water is coming in. They're not, Mara said sharply, moving closer. She placed a hand on his shoulder. Look at me. The deck is solid. The words snapped him back, just barely. Across the ship, Reports flooded in. Crew seeing memories that were not theirs. Crew reliving drownings that never happened. Crew feeling watched from behind, even when alone. "Captain," Menakori reported. Again, voice tight. "This is spreading. All affected are human." The Celethi Admiral stiffened. "It is attacking cognitively." Mara's jaw tightened. She had seen this before. Years ago. Another ship. Another enemy that didn't need weapons to kill. "Open shipwide channel," she ordered. The bridge crew stared at her. Now, the channel opened. "This is Captain Vance." Her voice echoed through the atlas. "Listen carefully. What you're feeling is not random. You are under cognitive pressure." Her words cut through panic. "Trust the ship. Trust your training. Focus on what you can touch. Steel is real. Air is clean. You are not drowning." Somewhere deep in the vessel, someone began repeating the words aloud. Others joined the chant, spread like a lifeline. Steel is real. Deck is solid. Air is clean. The pressure eased slightly. Not gone, but resisted. Leo stared at his display, eyes wide. "Captain," it reacted. "How?" The signal changed when the crew synchronized. It pulled back, just a little. Mara exhaled slowly. "It doesn't just sense us," she said. "It feels us." That meant something worse. It could be hurt, or angered. The lights flickered again, this time longer. Power rerouted automatically, systems screamed warnings, and then stabilized. From below, something moved. Sonar lit up with a massive shadow rising from a trench too deep for charts. The shape was wrong. Not symmetrical. Not solid. More like a presence forcing the water to move around it. The Celethi Admiral's voice was barely controlled. "That mass exceeds theoretical biological limits." Leo whispered, "It's not all coming up." "What?" Mara asked. "It's just leaning closer, like it doesn't need to rush." The sound shifted again. For the first time, it carried meaning, not words, intent. "Here, Captain." Felt her breath catch helm, she said quietly. "All stop." The Atlas halted its descent. The shadow below stopped to two predators suspended. In the dark, one built of steel and stubbornness, the other built of pressure. Memory and time. Something ancient had been disturbed, and it was deciding what to do with the humans who dared enter its world. The silence stretched. Not empty silence. Waiting silence. Captain Mara Vance stood perfectly still on the bridge of the Atlas. Every instinct screaming that movement itself might trigger something terrible. The massive shadow below them did not advance, did not retreat. It simply existed, an impossible weight pressing against the ocean, against the ship, against the minds of everyone aboard. Then it pulsed. The pressure slammed back into the crew, like a wave. Several officers cried out, as memories not their own flooded their thoughts. Childhood fears, near-death moments. The feeling of sinking, lungs burning, vision fading. Mara gritted her teeth. "This thing feeds on panic," she said. "Do not give it what it wants." Easy words. Hard reality. Leo Carter was shaking at his console, sweat dripping from his chin. "Captain, it's broadcasting something new. Not just sound, it's emotion." The Celethi Admiral turned sharply. "That is not possible." Leo didn't look away from his display. "It is for us." The shadow shifted. Water displaced violently as a vast section of the creature rose higher, closer to the Atlas. Sonar struggled to maintain a coherent outline. Parts of it faded, reappeared, overlapped, as if it did not fully exist in normal space. Range? Mara asked. 20 kilometers, Leo whispered. Closing without propulsion. No engines. No fins. Just will. Across the bridge, a human officer suddenly laughed. It was wrong, broken. He turned slowly toward Mara, eyes unfocused. It knows my name, he said softly. It says I don't belong here. Mara moved instantly. She grabbed his collar and slammed him against the bulkhead, not cruelly, but firmly, grounding him in reality. Look at me, she ordered. You are here. You are breathing. You are human. The officer blinked, trembled, then collapsed into sobs. Medical teams rushed in. The Selethi Admiral stared, plates rigid. This level of psychic intrusion would cripple most fleets. Then, it picked the wrong ship, Mara said coldly. She turned back to Leo. What happens if we move? Leo swallowed. Every time we change power output or hull vibration, it adjusts. It's mapping us. Then stop hiding, Mara said. Let it map. The Selethi officers reacted instantly. Captain, that is reckless. So is waning. To be eaten, she replied. She tapped her command panel. All stations? Her voice echoed through the ship. Prepare for controlled resonance alignment. Engineering, bring us to full operational hum. Engineering hesitated only a second. Then, the Atlas answered. The ship's deep internal vibration increased. Not louder but clearer. Power systems synced intentionally instead of suppressing their natural rhythm. The vessel's unique mechanical pulse spread through every deck. Steel sinking. The shadow below reacted immediately. It recoiled, just slightly. Leo stared at, didn't like that. Mara smiled for the first time since entering the depths. Because that's not fear, she said. That's presence. The creature surged again, this time violently. Water crushed inward as gravity distorted around the Atlas. Bulkheads screamed. Lights burst. Alarms wailed. Hull stress rising. Someone shouted. The Selethi Admiral braced himself against the console. Captain, disengage. This escalation will destroy us. No, Mara said. This is a test. She leaned forward. Eyes locked on the abyss. You hear me down there? She whispered. You feel us? So understand this. The ship's vibration deepened. Not chaotic, focused, human. The shadow hesitated. Then struck. A massive force slammed into the Atlas's side. The ship was thrown violently. Crews smashed into restraints. Metal groaned like it might tear apart. But it didn't. Structural integrity held barely. Engineering roared overcomes. Captain, we're riding the edge. Another hit like that hold, Mara said. She forced herself upright as the shadow passed beneath them. Circling now it was, no longer cautious, it was angry and afraid. It's not attacking to kill, Leo said suddenly. It's pushing us away. The Selethi Admiral turned slowly. You mean, it wants territory? Mara nodded, and we just told it no. She keyed the channel again. All hands, she said. This is what it feels like when something bigger realizes we won't run. Below them, the ancient creature paused. Then, for the first time since waking, it changed course, not retreating, not attacking, studying, learning, because. For the first time, in its endless existence, something in the dark had pushed back, and the ocean had learned something new. Humans were not prey. The creature did not leave. That was the problem. Captain Mara Vance watched the sonar display as the massive shape circled the Atlas in slow, deliberate arcs. No more wild charges. No more panic waves. This was not rage. This was thinking. Captain? Leo said quietly. Its movement pattern just changed. It's predictive. Mara felt a cold tighten in her chest. Meaning, it's no longer reacting to us, he said. It's anticipating. The Celethi Admiral stiffened. That suggests intelligence far beyond instinct. Or experience, Mara replied. She looked at the shadow again. The way it adjusted position whenever the ship's vibration shifted. The way it stayed just outside weapon range. The way the water itself seemed to bend around its presence. This thing had fought before and survived. The pressure returned, but softer this time. Not a scream in the mind, a whisper. Several crew members froze, staring at nothing. Mara turned. Sharply. Report. A young navigator spoke slowly, voice flat. It's showing me an ocean with no stars. No ships. Just silence. Another officer swallowed hard. I see bones, old ones, broken cities underwater. Mara slammed her hand onto the command rail. Focus. Those are not your thoughts. The Celethi Admiral stepped forward, his voice strained. Captain. It is sharing memory. That stopped her. Memory of what? Of winning, the Admiral said. The creature surged closer, not attacking, but pressing its presence against the Atlas. The water vibrated. The ship responded instinctively, its steel hum sharpening. The shadow recoiled again. Good, Mara whispered. You feel that? Leo's console flared with warnings. Captain, we're detecting something new. A structural response in the water itself. Explain. The pressure field isn't random anymore, Leo said. It's shaping the ocean. Like it's turning the environment into a weapon. Then the sea bent. A wall of crushing pressure slammed down from above, forcing the Atlas downward. The deck tilted violently. Crew cried out as gravity shifted. Depth increasing uncontrollably. Helm shouted. Counter thrust, Mara ordered. Now, engines roared. The ship fought back, but the water resisted, thick as stone. Engineering crackled over. Comes. Captain, we're pushing against something that isn't supposed to exist. The Celethi Admiral gripped a railing. It is asserting dominance. Mara's eyes burned. Over the ocean? She straightened. Not over us. She made her decision. All stations, she said calmly, prepare for resonance inversion. The bridge went silent. Leo's eyes widened. Captain? We've never tried that underwater. We've never fought a god underwater either, she replied. She looked at the Celethi Admiral. Your people suppress ship noise. Silence equals control, right? Yes. Humans learned the opposite, she said. Noise means life. Turn back to Leo. Invert the hum. Push it outward. Leo hesitated. That will broadcast us across the entire trench. Good, Mara said. I want it to hear us clearly. Engineering protested. Science objected? The Celethi officers whispered urgently. Mara didn't blink. Do it. The Atlas changed its voice. The ship's vibration reversed, not louder, but sharper, focused, a steady, defiant rhythm that cut through the water like a heartbeat amplified by steel. The ocean reacted violently. Bioluminescent. Organisms fled in all directions. Pressure waves shattered around the hull. The shadow twisted, its shape distorting as the hum struck it directly. For the first time, Pangaea screamed. Not in sound, in force. The pressure slammed back harder than ever. Consoles exploded. Crew were thrown from their stations. The Atlas buckled, alarms shrieking, hull integrity failing. Someone yelled. Mara held her ground. Blood running from a cut on her forehead. Hold the signal, she said through clenched teeth. Do not let it silence us. The Celethi Admiral stared at her in shock. You are challenging it. Yes, Mara said. Because predators don't expect that. The shadow lashed out, slamming into the Atlas's flank. Metal screamed. The ship spun violently. Then something unexpected happened. The creature pulled back. Not because it was hurt, because it was confused. Leo gasped. Captain, it's withdrawing. Mara didn't relax. No, it's repositioning. The shadow vanished downward fast. Where is it going? The Admiral demanded. Leo's face went pale. Below the trench floor. Mara's stomach dropped. That's impossible, someone said. There's nothing below that depth. There is now. Leo whispered. The creature wasn't retreating, it was preparing. Mara wiped blood from her eyes and stared into the dark. All hands, she said quietly. We just taught it how humans fight back. She took a breath. Now it's going to show us how gods respond. The ocean opened. Not like water parting. Like reality tearing. Captain Mara Vance watched the depth readings drop past every known limit. The numbers kept changing, then stopped making sense at all. This isn't a trench, Leo said, his voice hollow. This is a cavity. The Atlas drifted toward the opening despite full reverse thrust. The Celethi Admiral whispered. Space behaves like this, near gravity wells. Mara's jaw tightened. Then this thing isn't just living. In the ocean. The darkness below pulsed slow, massive, alive. The shadow reappeared. No longer shaped like a creature, but like a distortion wearing flesh. It made the ocean its skin. Leo said. The pressure returned, but this time it wasn't aggressive. It was inviting. Several crew members stopped moving. One by one, they turned toward the viewport. Captain, a sensor officer said softly, it's calling. Mara moved instantly. She grabbed the officer by the shoulders and forced him to look at her. Steel is real, she said firmly. Deck is solid. Air is clean. The words snapped others back. Fear broke like glass. The Celethi Admiral stared. Your kind uses language as armor. We use anything that worked, Mara replied. The creature surged upward. The water collapsed. Inward around it, forming a tunnel of impossible depth. The Atlas was dragged closer, engines screaming in protest. Hull stress critical. Engineering shouted. We won't survive entry. Mara knew that tone. Not fear, fact. She made the hardest call of her career. All hands, she said. Prepare for controlled descent. The bridge froze. Leo turned to her. Captain. If we go in there, we die if we stay, Mara cut in. At least this way, we choose how. The Celethi Admiral slowly inclined his head. Your species accepts loss to deny surrender. Yes, Mara said quietly. And sometimes, that's how we win. The Atlas crossed the threshold. The ocean vanished. Not drained, not displaced. Gone, the ship entered a void filled with liquid darkness that behaved like neither water nor space. Pressure readings went flat. Gravity twisted sideways. Crew screamed as orientation collapsed. Console sparked. The ship's hum warped into something strained but alive. Inside the void they saw it. Not the whole thing. No mind could process. That dot just fragments. A vast core of layered mass. Rings of bioluminescent organs rotating around a center that bent space inward. Tendrils of compressed matter reaching outward, tasting. Measuring. The creature was not ancient, it was old beyond time. Leo stared at the readings. "Captain, this thing isn't native to this planet?" Mara felt her blood run cold. "Then? What is it?" "A survivor," the Celethi Admiral said slowly. "From a universe that died." The creature reacted to their presence instantly. The void convulsed. Waves of force slammed into the Atlas, crushing hull plates inward. Structural failure imminent. Engineering screamed. Mara gripped the command rail. Her vision blurred. She realized the truth. "It doesn't hunt for food," she said. Leo looked at her. "Then what does it hunt?" Mara met his eyes. "Resistance?" The creature wrapped the Atlas in pressure. Slowly, methodically. Like something. Savoring the end of a struggle, the crew felt it not as pain as despair. Every failure they'd ever feared. Every doubt, every moment, they almost quit. The Celethi Admiral fell to his knees. "It feeds on surrender." Mara laughed. A short, sharp sound. "Well," she said, blood on her teeth, "it picked the wrong species." She slammed her palm onto the command console. "Leo," she said. "How much power can we pull from the core?" Leo hesitated. "Enough to tear the ship apart." "Okay," Mara replied. "Route it to the resonance field." Engineering yelled in protest. Mara ignored them. "Human ships don't retreat," she said evenly. "They burn." The Atlas's hum rose not outward, but inward. The resonance tightened, focused, turning the ship into a screaming knot of defiant force. The creature recoiled for the first time. It did not expect prey to detonate. Its own will, the void shook. The creature screamed again, this time in confusion. Mara leaned forward, eyes blazing. "You wanted resistance," she whispered. "You found us." The void screamed, not with sound, but with collapse. Captain Mara Vance felt the Atlas tearing itself apart from the inside. The resonance field burned white-hot, screaming through the ship's spine like a living nerve. "Core temperature critical." Leo shouted. "We have seconds." The creature recoiled again, harder this time. The void rippled as if space itself was flinching. The Celethi Admiral stared in disbelief. "It is afraid?" Mara smiled. "No," she said. "It's confused." The creature had fed on surrender. 4 eons. Worlds that stopped fighting. Species that broke and accepted the end. But the Atlas did something no prey ever had. It fought harder the closer it came to death. The creature pressed back. Gravity folded inward. Hull plates screamed. Crew were thrown against restraints as space twisted sideways. Mara's vision blurred. Blood ran from her nose. She stayed upright. "All power to forward emitters," she ordered. "Tight beam." Leo hesitated. "Captain, that will punch straight into its core. That's the point." The Celethi Admiral stepped forward despite the pressure crushing his frame. "You will not survive." Mara didn't look at him. "We know," she said. She opened shipwide comms. "All hands," she said calmly. "This is your captain." The bridge went silent. You already know the odds, she continued. They've been against us since the moment we dropped into this ocean. No screaming. No panic. Just listening. This thing believes surrender is the natural end of life, Mara said. That everything eventually gives up. She clenched her fist. Humans don't. Engineering crews fought fires while listening. Medics held injured crews steady. Weapons officers locked targeting through failing systems. If this is where we end, Mara said, then we end fighting so hard it remembers us. A murmur spread. Through the ship, not fear. Resolve, fire, Mara said. The Atlas screamed. The resonance beam erupted pure defiance, made energy. It wasn't a weapon built by logic. It was rage, refusal, and stubborn survival compressed into force. The beam hit the creature's core. Reality bent. The void collapsed inward. For the first time since it awakened, the creature lost control. Its structure fractured. Rings of mass shattered. The heartbeat that had echoed through the deep stuttered, then raced. It's destabilizing, Leo shouted. It can't hold itself together. The creature thrashed, trying to flee, but the Atlas was anchored inside it. Mara made the final call. All power, every last unit, into the core breach. Leo stared at her. That will end us, Mara finished. Do it. The Silithy Admiral bowed his head. This will be remembered, he said quietly. Leo executed the command. The ship howled as systems failed one by one, feeding everything into a final surge. The creature screamed, not in hunger, but in pain. Its body folded in on itself. The void collapsed. Light exploded outward. Then, silence. The Atlas was thrown clear. The ocean returned. Water rushed back into existence, as if reality snapped shut behind them. Pressure slammed the hull. Then stabilized. Darkness. Emergency lights flickered on. Smoke filled the bridge. For a long moment, nothing moved. Then bridge, a voice coughed. Status. Leo lifted his head, bleeding but alive. We're still here. Mara laughed weakly and slumped into her chair. The Atlas was broken. Half her systems were dead. Hull breaches vented water into sealed compartments. Engines were barely functional. But the creature was gone, gone. No signal. No pressure. No presence. The ocean was quiet. The Silithy Admiral stared at the displays, shaken. You destroyed it. God. Mara shook her head. No. She looked at the scarred ship around her. At her crew standing, when they should be dead. We reminded it why gods fear mortals. Hours later, rescue fleets arrived. The Silithy Command broadcast the footage across Allied space. The human ship diving willingly into annihilation and refusing to stop fighting. The message spread fast. Where fear had lived, something else grew hope. And caution. Species who had believed surrender was logical began rewriting their doctrines. Predators watching from the dark learned a lesson. If you corner humanity, it does not beg, it does not break. It burns back aboard the drifting Atlas. Mara stood at the viewport, watching the ocean above glow faintly with bioluminescence. Leo joined her. You think it's really gone? He asked. Mara nodded. If something like that survived the end of a universe, she said, it won't. Forget today. Leo smiled grimly. Good. Mara met his gaze. Let it remember, she said. We're still here. And far below, in a place where even darkness hesitated, nothing answered back.